Hi folks, Shane here with Shane's Premier League review show of match weeks 13, 14 and 15. The reason being, last week there was 2 match weeks squeezed in together, so I'm going to cover it all now with you. So we'll start with the West Ham and Leicester game. It was a 1-1 draw. David Moyes earned his first point as the West Ham manager. Mark Albrighton gave Leicester the lead with quite a good goal with 8 minutes gone, and Cheick Kouyaté equalised on the stroke of half time. And other than that, both teams could have won it. It was an interesting game. Yeah, but 1-1 was probably a fair result in the end. Now, we'll move on to Crystal Palace and Stoke City. These are all games from a few weeks ago now. Crystal Palace managed to nick this game 2-1, despite Stoke City taking the lead with a wonderful solo goal from Johan Shaqiri. Ruben Loftus-Cheek equalised a few minutes later, and then a last gasp goal from former Liverpool defender Mamadou Sakho got all the spoils for Roy Hudson's side, to help lift the Eagles off the bottom of the table, along with their midweek result, as I'm going to allude to in a moment. Right, now on to Manchester United and Brighton. This was a really dull game. United weren't at it at all, really, to be honest. It was 1-0 to Manchester United, a lucky goal from Ashley Young. Brighton were terribly unlucky to lose the game. They played really well on the day. They defended brilliantly, and they could have nicked it themselves, quite frankly. It was really a nothing game, and United got lucky. Ashley Young scored, as I said. So now, on to Newcastle and Watford. This was a 3-0 defeat for Rafa Benitez's men. They're struggling these days, folks. I'm not 100% sure who was among the scores here, but I think Will Hughes was in there. Maybe Ricardison. It's a couple of weeks ago now, so it sort of slipped over my mind, to be honest. But it was a comfortable win anyway, I remember, for the Hornets. So fair play to them, as St James's Park is usually a tough place to go. On to Swansea and Bournemouth. This game was a 0-0 draw. Absolutely nothing to write home about here, folks. It was a dull, drab affair, and 0-0 was really a fair result. From what I can remember, nothing went on whatsoever, really. On to Spurs and West Bromwich Albion. This was a 1-1 draw. Spurs are struggling a bit at Wembley this season, as their new home is getting done up. Salomon Rondon gave the Baggies an early lead, and Spurs huffed and puffed all game and eventually blew the house down, and Harry Kane got the equaliser and almost got the winner, but it wasn't to be, and a well-earned point for the Baggies. So 1-1 there. On to the big game a couple of weeks ago now, Liverpool and Chelsea. It was a real titanic struggle, folks. The game ended up 1-1. Mohamed Salah gave Liverpool the lead in the second half, and with about 5 minutes to go in the game, Liverpool just don't know how to see games out, really, at times. The ball came out to the edge of the corner flag, and Willian managed to put enough dip on the ball as Mignolet was off his line for it to float over his head, and that earned the Blues a point in Anfield. So 1-1 was a fair result as both teams once again had their chances. A good game, but it really managed to do no team any benefit at the time, as it was just a point each. On to the Sunday fixtures a couple of weeks ago now. Southampton and Everton. This proved to be David Underwood's last game as caretaker manager. For Everton, it ended up being a 4-1 defeat, despite a wonderful goal from Gylfi Sigurdsson. Charlie Austin and Stephen Davis stole the show here for the Saints in a 4-1 victory, as I was saying, a much deserved one. They really dominated the game for large parts, so it was a fair result. However, we'll move on to Burnley and Arsenal now, and this wasn't such a fair result. Burnley peppered the Arsenal goal for a good bit of the game, and were unlucky not to score, and they conceded a debatable, to say the least, stoppage time penalty, which Alexis Sanchez tucked away to give the Gunners a fortunate 3 points for the third time running against Burnley. It's actually the third stoppage time goal they've scored in a row against them to nick the 3 points. So there you go. It's becoming a bit of a trend, as you can see. Good win for the Gunners, however, as Burnley are proving a tough nut to crack this season under Sean Dyche, which is all the credit to them. Now, on to Sunday that week, and we have the one game on Sunday that week, and that was Huddersfield and Manchester City. This proved to be the first of 3 fortunate wins in a week for Manchester City, as they nicked the game 2-1, despite Huddersfield taking the lead and giving them a good run for their money. An Aguero penalty got the Blues back into it in the second half, and Raheem Sterling got a fortunate bounce of the ball with 5 minutes to go to give Manchester City a crucial 3 points. And as I'll allude to later on in the video, this also occurred 2 more times in 7 days. So, on we go. Onto the midweek games now. So this is game week 14. Right. So now, Brighton and Crystal Palace. This was a shocking game, really, to be honest. There was no real chance whatsoever within the game. Brighton were marginally the better team. They could have nicked it. Excuse me. But Glenn Murray managed to get his header saved. And other than that, there wasn't too many chances to report. So there you go. Right. On to Leicester and Spurs. This was a wonderful win for the Foxes. Jamie Vardy and Riyad Mahrez stole the show with 2 absolute thunderbolts of goals. And Harry Kane managed to get a struggling Spurs side back into it in the second half. They could have got back into it fully, but it wasn't to be. And it was yet another poor defeat for a side that is not really getting going in the league at the moment, despite their good league form. Or good Champions League form, excuse me. They managed to finish top of their group ahead of Real Madrid. So that takes some doing, as we all know. So credit where credit is due. But their league form needs to pick up if they if they're to have any chance of completing their lofty ambitions, shall we say. On to Watford and Manchester United. This was a cracker of a game which ended up 5-3. Ashley Young stealing and maybe Jesse Lingard stealing the show here with the 3 best goals. Despite Watford getting back into the game with about 10 minutes to go, I feel United deserved the game despite it being an absolute epic. It was a great watch. So now, the next game that week was West Brom and Newcastle. Sam Field scoring his first goal for his local club. Congratulations to him there. Fair dues for him. Well deserved. The Baggies had a 2-goal lead in this game. I think Salomon Rondon might have got the second goal for them. And Newcastle had a stirring comeback, to say the least, with the Irishman Kieran Clark helping the Geordies get back into the game for them to draw it 2-2. Now, the next game was a good watch as well. It was 5-0 to Arsenal against Huddersfield. It wasn't as one-sided as you think by looking at the scoreline, obviously. Huddersfield had their chances. They could have had a penalty. Arsenal were very sloppy during the first half. But really, for Huddersfield these days, they're not getting much luck. So Arsenal managed to take their chances. 2 goals from Olivier Giroud, Alexander Lacazette, and Mesut Ozil were among the scorers there in a 5-0 rout. On to Bournemouth and Burnley. This was yet again another excellent performance from Sean Dyche's side. Robbie Brady in amongst the scorers there, along with Chris Wood scoring Burnley's 2 goals to give them a wonderful win down by the seaside in Bournemouth. I think Josh King might have scored for Bournemouth if I remember rightly. So there we go. 2-1 win for Burnley, as I said. On to Chelsea and Swansea. This was a game which saw Antonio Conte sent to the stand for arguing the decision against a corner. It's amazing what gets on managers' nerves these days, folks. But however, it made no difference, as Bakayoko rode to the Blues' rescue with a wonderful header to give them a 1-0 win against struggling Swansea. Now, we'll move on to a Blues revival. Step forward, Sam Allardyce. He managed to inspire the Toffees, despite being in the stand for his for David Underwood's final game in charge. Sorry, earlier I think I made a mistake by saying that Unsworth's final game in charge was against Southampton. It wasn't. Sam Allardyce was in the stand on Wednesday, November 29th, and Unsworth oversaw a 4-0 victory for his beloved Toffees, with Wayne Rooney scoring an absolutely unbelievable hat-trick. One goal which came from midfield, which he struck beautifully, and Goodison obviously went wild. And poor old West Ham struggled. They also missed a penalty. Manuel Lanzini was the unfortunate penalty taker there. Other than that, West Ham weren't very good. Everton deserved their victory. Total contrast to the previous Sunday, from their point of view. Now, Manchester City and Southampton. This was another 2-1 win for Man City. Raheem Sterling coming up with the goods with the last kick of the game. With the last minute winner. It was a thunderbolt into the top corner. It was a heartbreak for Southampton, as they had their chances too, and quite frankly they deserved a draw. But it wasn't to be, and when things are going for you, and like they're going for Man City, it looks as if they're odds on to win the league at the moment, folks. But there's a while to go yet, as we're not even halfway through the league season, but they're getting the results, which is ominous for the rest of the teams. Now, on to Stoke City and Liverpool, which was the final match for this week. So Liverpool managed to win the game 3-0. 2 goals from rampant Mohamed Salah. He only came off the bench, by the way, folks. So he really is flying it. He's, in my view, he's the best since Luis Suarez on front of goal for the Reds. So all in all, it was a great night for Liverpool. Sadio Mane added the 3rd goal, albeit Stoke can count themselves very unlucky, as this isn't a bias show, as I alluded to before. I cover everything. Mignolet ran out of his goal when Maran Biram Diouf was through on goal, and Mignolet took out Maran Biram Diouf, and he was the last man. He should have been sent off, but my good friend Martin Atkinson didn't manage to see it that way, so he's on my Christmas card list, shall I say. It should have been a straight red card, and of course it would have been a different game at 1-0 against 10 men for Stoke. Just a very unfortunate rub of the green for them. So now, on to the final part of the review show, which is game week 15. This was last week's matches now, or these were last week's matches. Chelsea and Newcastle kicked the action off. They managed to win 3-1. Newcastle took the lead with a good goal from Dwight Gale. Eden Hazard stole the show, however. He managed to score 2 good goals. Great goal from the penalty spot, chip over the keeper, and a wonderful ball which went into the ground and over the keeper. And he was really unlucky not to score a hat-trick throughout the game. He had numerous chances. Morata added the third for the Blues, to keep them in amongst the chasing pack. Likewise, Liverpool, they took on Brighton and they managed to win by 5 goals to 1. So it was another wonderful day for the Reds. Emre Can scored a goal from a corner, which is once again unbelievable. They're managing to score goals from corners these days, folks. I never thought I'd be saying that, but anyway, there you go. And then we also, or Liverpool also scored a quick fire goal straight after that to give them a 2-goal lead. Roberto Firmino managed to get the third in amongst a Glenn Murray penalty, and then Coutinho stole the show after that with a good free kick and a great ball into the box, which poor old Lewis Dunk managed to score an own goal to give the Reds a comfortable 5-1 victory down by the seaside, to keep their good run of form going. Now, on to Sam Allardyce's first game in charge. It was a 2-0 victory. Dominic Calum-McLoone was among the scorers there. It was really a comfortable win for the Toffees, and typical Sam Allardyce performance. So fair play to them. 6 points out of 6, and a good win in the Europa League for them in midweek as well. Could have been more than 3 by all accounts. So fair dues to Big Sam. So yeah, off to a wonderful start. So yes, he's got 6 points under his stewardship, be it one from the stand, one game from the stand, as I was alluding to earlier. Right, on to Leicester and Burnley. It was an okay game from what I managed to see. Tamari Gray managed to nick the match for the Foxes. Claude Puel is doing quite well there, so fair play to them, and a small little blip for Burnley in amongst everything there. So on we go. And speaking of blips, Spurs slipped up again. It was a 1-1 draw. Sung Young Min scored for Spurs, and Watford managed to nick a goal. Christian Cavazeli, and Spurs managed to go down to 10 men. Davison Sanchez was dismissed from the field, and Watford were unlucky not to win it as they hit the bar. So Spurs, I don't really know what's gone wrong with them domestically. We'll have to leave it to them to sort it out, because I've got nothing to do with it, folks. So for the Spurs fans that watch me, I'm just really sorry for you at the moment, despite your wonderful Champions League form. So yeah. Right. On to West Bromwich Albion and Crystal Palace again. Look at 0-0. Alan Pardew's first game in the West Bromwich Albion dugout. A point, I suppose, a clean sheet. A first clean sheet for the Baggies since September. So congratulations to them on that note. We'll leave it there, because it was a game that lacked chances, and you'd be as well off watching paint dry, to be honest. So there you go. Now, to the other extreme, Arsenal and Manchester United. This was like a game of basketball from start to finish. It could have been 10-all. It ended up, however, being 3-1 to Manchester United as they played a wonderful game on the break against the Gunners, and De Gea had the game of his life, keeping out Alexander Lacazette amongst many others. However, it's only 3-1 is beyond me. Big win for United. Jesse Lingard, Antonio Valencia, and Anthony Martial scoring there, and Lacazette did manage to score eventually. And yeah, it was just a brilliant game. I'd rewatch it any day of the week, folks. So, if you want to look it up or something, or if you haven't caught the highlights, it is well worth it. Game of the season so far, okay? I won't ruin it. 3-1 doesn't tell the full story. So, trust me, it's absolutely epic. It's drama. Great advertisement for the Premier League. And fair dues to United for coming out on top. The one blemish for them was that Paul Pogba got a red card, therefore he'll miss the Manchester derby. And deservedly so, as it was an awful tackle. So no, brilliant game, and a great 3 points for United. On we go to Sunday's matches to round off the review show. Now, Bournemouth and Southampton in the South Coast derby. This was a 1-all draw. Quite frankly, anything could have won it. Because Bournemouth should have been a penalty. John Moss made a horrible decision when one of the Bournemouth players was clipped in the box. He didn't manage to see it that way, thinking that one of the Bournemouth lads was falling over theatrically, but he was actually clipped, and as far as I know, the suspension wasn't rescinded. So terribly unlucky for Bournemouth here. That being said, Southampton were on top for most of the game, the much better team in possession. They should have won it. Nathan Redmond cut Bournemouth to shreds at times. They managed to get a great goal from Charlie Austin in amongst it as well. But it ended up 1-all. Ryan Fraser scoring the goal for the Cherries. For the game to end up 1-all. Now, on to the final game of this mega review show. And it was yet another 2-1 win for Manchester City against West Ham United. However, West Ham managed to give them a scare. I think it might have been Antonio who scored for them, or it was either Antonio or Agbono. One of the two of them. There's a lot going on for me at the moment, folks, so I can't remember everything. Sorry. But West Ham went in with the lead at half time. And City lacked urgency, really, all the way throughout the game. They managed to get an equaliser, quite fortuitous, really. They took a throw in and they crossed the ball into the box, and Otamendi tapped the ball in to get the equaliser. And then, with a few minutes to go, a peach of a pass from Kevin De Bruyne found David Silva to get, and he headed it into the back of the net, past former Manchester City goalkeeper Joe Hart. to give the Blues a wonderful, successful week, albeit fortuitous in all three cases. 9 points out of 9 for them. And they keep their good run of form going ahead of this Sunday's Manchester Derby, which I will go through in the prediction show in a short while. So stay tuned for that. That's it for the review show. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment if you want. Criticise me if you like as well. So yeah, have a good weekend, and thanks for tuning in. All the best. I'm Shane. Take care.